Welcome everyone to the Ballinesian podcast, sponsored as always by Livasa Island Apparel. I am Lance Falatongo,
I'm the winner today because Lance's team lost.
and the Raiders won. Nice. Yeah, actually, make sure to check out Livasa Island Apparel, www.livasaislandapparel.com. See what they got going on as far as island apparel.
Yep.
Get your sweaters. I know it's super cold. They always got a good selection of hoodies they can send out, or DM them and talk to Uri and see what they can get set up for you. They can definitely do some different orders.
I know,
Uh,
yeah. I know E-Rice got those onesies that I asked him for pretty soon.
Yay! You got what was it for you got a niece or nephew, little baby in the
Yes,
family?
for Tibessa and Chelsea Gray. They're having a baby. Chelsea Gray, who plays for
Yay.
the Las Vegas Aces. I'll be flying out to Vegas on the 25th. Baby shower's on the 28th. So
Nice.
we're gonna go celebrate that. Oh, it's good to celebrate life.
More life, more
More,
life.
more life. So
Parenting is
uh
hard. Bro, I'm so tired. So why am I yelling at a little child? And she's like, like, oh, stop turning the TV off. I'm trying to watch Tua manage this comeback. She's like, you don't want to watch it, Dad. It's not gonna happen. I was like, ah.
It's funny, when you're younger and you argue with this, because you're a kid when you're younger, you argue with kids, you don't realize that you look like the biggest idiot arguing with the kid. Like the kid doesn't know. And then when you become a parent, kind of know that you're an idiot. Like you shouldn't do it, but you're like, but I'm your parent. I'm gonna
Exactly.
argue with you anyway. And then
I feel so disrespected. I
like
start, hey, are you serious right now? She's like, I don't even know what serious right now
right.
means.
And then you get into it like a minute later, you're like, man, I'm such an asshole.
Oh man, speaking of assholes. Okay, so the Raiders beat the Broncos, right? What
Beat the
was the
brakes
finals?
off. We beat the brakes off the Broncos, man. If you're a Broncos fan, you are somewhere right now, black and blue. I'm telling you.
27-14 in Las Vegas. One second before we get to, I got some questions about the Allegiant Stadium end zone grass that I saw
Hey, man,
that you
that's
might be
the
able to
strategy,
answer, but
man. The strategy.
home field
Strategy,
advantage. Y'all
man.
ain't, y'all ain't ready to play like
Y'all,
this,
y'all not ready
Denver.
to play?
You
We're gritty
outdoor
like that.
stadium.
We're grimy, man. We get down like that.
We're
Y'all don't
going.
know.
We're going to talk about the matchups we can expect next week for Super Wild Card Weekend. We're going to talk about Puka Nacua's record-breaking season and performance, and whether you can expect it to keep going or if this is the peak. We've also got a couple of other different things. Bill Belichick might have coached his last game with the Panthers. Jim Harbaugh might be the new coach of the Chargers. But before we get on to the playoff stuff, let's talk about our teams who aren't in the postseason this year. So the Raiders win their last game under Antonio Pierce. I feel like it's when they fired Josh McDaniels this season, the attitude of the team and trajectory switched, and you couldn't just get to the end where like the Chiefs needed, I think, to lose one more game, and you guys would have been the AFC West champions over them. But you guys almost took the division after a slow, probably disappointing start for a lot of people. Um, but how do you feel now at the end of the season regarding the team, how they're playing, how they've been playing, and also for the coaching possibility of Antonio Pierce for the Raiders?
Man, I don't know Josh McDaniels on a personal level, but if you're a coach, you're part of an organization, and as soon as you leave, the organization gets better. Oh, I'm just saying. I'm just saying
Patrick Ewing.
that you are the problem. Like, I don't know. Mark Davis, man, I can't tell you what to do. You own the team. I People keep saying you're broke, obviously you're not, but man, that was a really bad hire. Uh it was a bad hire the first time when he went to Denver. Uh some guys are just, some people get married, some become the maid of honor or the, best man. And Josh McDaniels will forever be a maid of honor or a best man. He'll never be the married guy, you know? He's an
Yeah.
offensive coordinator. And that's probably where he should be. He should be someone's offensive coordinator. Uh, I don't know if he knew how to. You hear it all the time with Antonio Pierce now, a leader of men. You
Hmm.
know, there's just sometimes you have to be that. You don't have to like. I'm pretty sure Josh McDaniels was a great X's and O's guy. I don't know how his system works now. It might be outdated. You know, the
I
system might be a
was
little outdated.
feel like nobody rocked with him. Like people weren't on board from the beginning. They were like, okay, yeah, but you also have never won. Your freaking your system doesn't work.
As
Takes
a head
forever to get
coach, though,
implemented.
as a head coach, though, just to be fair to Josh McDaniels, because he's won championships, he's won Super Bowls as a coordinator, uh,
Yeah, I
and you
mean,
know,
Tom Brady makes it
right?
easy.
It does. No, I mean, it does. Tom Brady, he had guys like Wes Welker.
Mm.
Um, who's the other little
Randy
white dude?
Moss.
Oh
Danny
gosh,
Amendola, Julian
not
Edelman.
Edelman,
Yeah,
Edelman before Amendola for sure. But I mean,
Danny
yeah,
Woodhead.
Gronk, yeah, he got the system worked with those guys in it. He tried to implement that in Las Vegas, but that's a lot of it's gonna take a while, and he didn't have the time to do it.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna say he was gonna do it because obviously it wasn't working. But
Yeah,
just to say that he was the problem, he was gone, and then they brought in a guy who obviously Mark Davis saw something. I don't know, maybe the organization as a whole saw something in Antonio Pierce, made him the interim coach because you would have he was just a linebackers coach. He was a positional coach. Not to say he wasn't a great one, but or is a great one, but you would have thought maybe the offensive coordinator or a lot of teams have assistant head coaches now, or gone on to him, or pick somebody outside who's they,
Jeff Saturday. It.
maybe not. I was gonna say somebody
Yeah,
with a
not
little more
that bad, but
experience.
like coming from totally
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
the
but they went
team.
with they went with Antonio Pierce, and what happened? Yes, they lost a few games. That's personnel. That's because they lost a lot of games with Josh McDaniels. No one
So I
responded.
mean, it wasn't an X's and O's thing for the Raiders. It was just like getting them to actually play to their
To,
potential, which
right,
Antonio Pierce has definitely got them. Like you said, ready to run through a wall and always super
right,
motivated.
and
Is he going to be their coach next year, or are there better coaches out there?
I'm pretty sure there's more experienced coaches.
More experience? Yeah. Okay.
There's
Gotcha.
more experience, and I'm one of those guys that I always believe in experience really does win stuff. But against these new age, like even in jobs, like a lot of these kids with like there are some jobs now that are taking off the requirement to have a bachelor's degree to
Nice.
obtain these jobs. This is in the real world, not where we live in, because we are not NFL coaches. But yeah, so but I truly believe I grew up old school like that. I'm a little older. I'll be 44 on Thursday.
Hey.
So yeah, like that I grew up with that mentality with a lot of people around me that were working jobs, older men that I looked up to. They were experienced men. Not too many went to school, but they were in higher positions where they were because they've been there for a while. But with AP, he's got that. I get that old soul with him, that mentality as well. He hasn't been a head coach at all before this, but as you can see, he has the traits. And a lot of guys that have been in the league, you'll hear them say that uh, you don't have to be the X's and O's guy as the head coach. You don't have to be the guy that's uh, like a skill position coach or teaching something like a quarterback guru. What you need to be as a head coach in the league is a leader of men. You'll hear that repeatedly over and over when they're talking about AP, and I believe he's that. No, they're gonna have those flashy names now. Number one right now is Harbaugh, of course, uh, who I'm pretty sure the Chargers would much rather have over Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have Bill Belichick, who is another guy who's been in the league for so long, but maybe his experience, maybe he should be an offensive coordinator now again. Maybe not a head coach. So I don't know. I believe AP is the guy. I think he has the stuff.
Nice.
Uh, if you wake up in the morning and you want to go play for your coach,
Mm.
that's a head
That's the
coach.
vibe you're
Yeah,
getting.
that's it. So these guys, and then granted, maybe those guys like Devontae, Max Crosby, you got to at least believe them when they say that they want AP to be the coach.
Yeah.
He's the guy. You let go of I still can't pronounce his name, but Biashiash last season when when he was the head coach, the interim head coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Rich Basia.
that guy. So you made a mistake. I think you made a mistake by not hiring him because you would have had guy because people they rallied to him. That's what you want to see with your players. You want to see guys rally to your head coach.
And
You want to
that's
see them on the same page with your head coach.
yeah.
Guy Dan Campbell right now, I think, is one of the better coaches in the league just because he has the respect of his team. Like they're really just
Yeah.
like, yeah, like you see him out there and he goes to work every day. He's not one of those guys that's
Nice.
just on the sideline. Like he puts in work with his team. So I hope AP is his coach. I hope they keep Kelly as the GM. I think they're a good team.
Nice.
Um,
All right.
yeah,
So
and
the Raiders are going to be okay. They've
I think
definitely
so.
got to they're facing, if they're not taking steps in the right direction, they're at least facing a better direction than they were with Josh McDaniels. But
Amen. Amen. And whoever
so
the head coach is you're gonna have to rally behind them. Like everybody went behind Josh McDaniels for at least a little bit, didn't work.
uh,
So
I mean, I feel like just stick with what you got. Like they respect this coach, then roll
I
with
hope
him.
so. I
But
hope so. But
speaking of coaches, the Chargers, there's talk that Jim Harbaugh prefers the Los Angeles Chargers as his team. Of course, this is all coming from like Chargers Instagram accounts and
lies,
Twitter accounts,
lies.
Chargers content clubs, right? But according to those posts that I follow and I've been reading, there has already been contact between the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. So the only way that Jim Harbaugh is not the coach is if the Chargers decide he's too expensive to pay and then go in a different direction. But we've already heard from the owner that money will not be an issue. But now we're about to see what the actions are if their actions really back up that talk. Because a good coach, as we saw in Las Vegas, can be all the difference between motivating your guys to really achieve their potential. And the Chargers, as everyone know, has had potential. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, freaking Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, all the defense, Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Michael Davis, Tui Pelotu went off this season. Definitely some pieces to build around, but also the Chargers roster is top heavy and paying out a lot of older guys. Khalil Mack makes a bunch of money. Joey Bosa, a bunch of the Michael Davis, cornerback, signed to a big contract. But a new GM and a new coach are coming, and they're going to have to cut a bunch of the old guard and make way for Justin Herbert's kind of fresh new team. So it's going to be exciting. We're definitely going to need a coach that knows what he's doing. But with the loss today versus the Chiefs, man, we kicked a field goal to go up like freaking 2 points with a minute left. And I was like, guys, what are we doing here? But luckily, was it Blaine Gabbert? Blaine Gabbert for the Kansas City Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes was
Bruh,
sitting because they couldn't go up anymore.
you guys
Drives them
lost.
down.
You guys lost to Blaine Gabbert.
Hell yeah, complete the tank. Blaine Gabbert gets, I think he ran for like 30 yards on the final drive on one play. He just scampered off. But
Man,
Eric Kendricks had like two chances to tackle him and totally whiffed. And I was like, oh, there's a team player right there. That man knows what's good for the franchise. Damn it, Eric
bruh.
Kendricks.
I got too much pride, man. If I'm losing to Blaine Gabbert, if I'm on the sideline, I'm not on defense right now. If they don't
Yeah.
have me on the field, I'm running from the sideline to tackle him.
I don't think it was on the players. The players were trying, right? But I don't know. Maybe the coaching was just bad enough that we were able to lose that game. And now the Chargers, with the Giants beating the Eagles today, speaking of beating the brakes off of the team, the Eagles not looking great going into the playoffs. But with the Giants win, they now evacuate that fifth overall pick, and the Chargers are currently slotted in there now. So that's going to be great for the rebuild that's going to need to come for the Los Angeles Chargers. And it starts this April in the draft well, I guess it really starts with the coach and GM that should be coming within the next month. So that's going to be super exciting for the Chargers' future. Uh,
Potential? Potential?
Potential?
What's that word?
What's that mean?
What's that mean?
It's 3:30.
Potential.
I'm off the clock. Speaking of Los Angeles and greatness, legendary performance this season by Rams rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua, who set the rookie season record for most catches and most receiving yards by our first year player in NFL history.
He's done. He's done,
The
guys.
this
If
record
you
has
guys,
stood
if
for
you
over
guys
60 years.
be
That's how long
happy,
it's been.
be happy that you guys saw him this season. He's done.
This is the top of it.
He will fade into obscurity in the offseason.
You don't really believe that. There's
No,
no
I don't.
way.
No,
This
I
is
don't.
just a super high mark, and it's
It is
probably
a
not gonna be the standard or the average. This is, I mean, we're saying this is a record breaking performance. This is probably,
rookie numbers, though.
something out of
So
the
we're
ordinary.
we're talking record-breaking rookie numbers. So
Yeah,
for him, yeah, of course, he still has potential to go past these numbers. Just in case everybody's wondering, we're saying
gotcha.
he's not going to be better than. No, of course he's going to be better than that. But record-breaking rookie numbers. What we're asking is if we're going to see another rookie surpass these numbers. Not for a little bit at least, but who knows? Because the league is trending in a more pass-friendly league. So
Also, there's an extra game now. So when the
and
record
there's an
was
extra
made
game.
in 1963, there were only 14 games.
God damn,
Uh,
what rookie was that? Jesus.
Bill Groman, he had a
Oh,
hundred.
yep.
He
Bill
had
Crum.
14.
Yep.
Yeah, whoever that is. 1,473 yards in a 14-game season in 1960.
Oh, see, they
Uh,
implemented the forward pass like 2 seasons before that, right?
and then they just fed Groman.
Right.
He was like the only person.
Is he like
The
six
only
eight?
he's the only special. Yeah, for real. They just throw it up to Groman. Throw it up to
Just
Billy G.
toss it up. He's got it.
Puka Nacua finished with 4 catches, I think like 30 something yards and a touchdown. He needed 4 catches, 29 yards to set these records. Broke Jalen Waddle's recent rookie catch record, but he finished with 105 yards on the season. And
No, the
yeah,
future is totally bright for that guy. One, everybody's gonna say, well, like you asked me earlier, Cooper Cup was hurt a couple of games. Yes, he was, but
mhm.
he came back. Puka still got his,
True, true,
the
true.
first 2 games maybe he wasn't getting his looks, but he was still able to get his looks, obviously, because he broke the record. Second, Cooper Cup is a little older. He won't be there all the time, or for at least a longer while. Who knows? He might not be around for much longer because uh maybe they'll move on. This season, super success for the Rams, not just for Puka, because everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people had the Rams finishing at the bottom of the league this year, starting the
Mm.
season. They didn't see that potential, but obviously they played really great ball with what they had. People counted Matthew Stafford out real early. They counted out Cooper Cup real early, coming back late. They weren't sold on the defense. But the Rams really came out. They, one of those teams where you look at them and you're like, wow, 10 and what are they? 10 and 7? What are they?
10-7.
Yeah. So that's crazy that a lot of people counted them out. But yeah, Puka will come back next year. And a lot of his success is like super amazing because no one knew about him except for probably Polynesians or BYU fans going into the
Mhm.
draft. And so if it was a guy like if Justin Jefferson had did that his rookie year, one of those guys, a big name coming out of the draft,
Mhm.
people would have been like, "Oh yeah, cool, we broke the record." But I mean, it's tons more special because
Fifth rounder, damn.
fifth rounder, but he was doing stuff like that at BYU. Go check the tape. Ooh, I sound like a real analyst. Go look at the tape. Go look at the tape.
Definitely in the preseason, there was hype about Puka Nacua. Um, and just like I think Sean McVay was talking really good about him
Right.
in interviews and to the media, and
He's a
just
big
how competent this rookie was. Like he's
right.
playing like a professional wide receiver.
Right. He's a big body receiver as well. He's like 6'2". What is he? He's like at least 210, 215. Um, he's got some burners on him. He's not slow. So he finds open spaces. Good for him, man. Good for him. And it's so great to hear like coaches talk about how he's a little bit like his demeanor is of a somewhat mature but a laid back guy, team player. You hear that
Mhm.
a lot about Polynesian players who are raised up in a real good Polynesian home. Not to say that other cultures don't do that with their kids, but it's pretty prevalent within the Polynesian culture, So like uh
Being
the
good kids, don't talk
right,
back, just go
right.
work.
Just go
Listen, very
coaches,
coachable.
coaches. I've heard it so many times from stateside coaches. They love Polynesian kids because they're not like the other kids out here. When you tell them to do something,
Assholes.
right, they nod yes, they go out there and do it, and uh a good job or just affirmation that they did what you told them to do, that's enough for them. They play harder for you when they hear stuff like that. So um another guy you hear that from, who we're going to hear about for sure on Sundays, is Kingston Villiam, also the top linebacker out of California who signed with Notre Dame. He played in the All-American game this past Saturday. I'm telling you, Lance, this kid, not since like, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be as good, but not since like Junior Seau, you heard a lot of guys talk about a linebacker that way. Plays
Yeah.
middle linebacker. He's coming into his freshman season, 6'3", 230. He's already built like a grown ass man. He's all over the field, but we're going to talk about him next season for sure, in college. But for Puka, it's great to see him get his numbers like that because he might have just been buried another depth chart had he been undrafted by it, and then just signed by another
Mm-hmm.
team. And
Mm-hmm.
so cool to hear that McVay had talked early about him and liked him, and they were able to draft him. So
Fifth round picks are not a lock to make the team. Right, you still
no,
they drafted
yeah,
heavily,
no
like
guarantee,
invested in you, but that is a
right?
late round pick. And if the team is really good already, those
You
rookies,
you
those
might end up
undrafted
on the
free
practice
agents,
squad. Yeah,
yeah, those the late drafted rookies, they're not a guarantee to make the team. So
no,
not only did he make the team, not only is he a starter on the team, but he's gone above and beyond for any first year wide receiver,
right,
and has definitely shown the potential when given the opportunity that he can make things happen. And I'm very excited to. I think it's going to continue just because
for sure,
it's not like a situational thing where just because Cooper Cup was hurt early, they had to feed him, and he got all his stats there. He did have two record-breaking weeks to start the season.
right,
So many targets, so many catches, so many yards. But I think it's more the person that Puka is, at least the player that he um, like a hard nosed, good hands, willing to block, willing to get out there and scrap, to fight for those 50-50 balls that make him like just a really good wide receiver, and he's going to have a really good career. So very excited for more from him
for
next season
sure.
as well.
His
Uh,
adjustment into that number two wide receiver or even number three was really smooth for him. Like, Cooper Cup came back, there was no complaints from him, but he was able to find his role without struggling. You know what I mean? Like they told him, well, Cooper Cup's back, we gotta throw him the ball now. And he was like, for sure. But I mean, I'll be open
yeah, for real. That's
for
like a real teammate. He's
yeah.
like, yeah,
He
yeah, for
said, for
sure.
sure. I'll be open though. So if you do need me to catch it, go ahead, throw it my way.
I'll be
And
blocking for these guys on the side. So
right,
if after
right,
that you want to go ahead and throw me the
right.
ball, then
Whatever you don't throw to Cooper, throw it to me. You know,
Yo, I think after Cooper Cup, Puka's target share was way up there,
for
and
sure.
probably more than a lot more regular receivers on other teams. But yeah, the Rams are locked into the sixth seed, and they're going to play the Detroit Lions. So Matthew Stafford
Ooh.
is going to be heading to Detroit
You know
to
what?
play Jared Goff
That's
and them.
that's not even the story though. It's Jared Goff playing the Rams who gave up on him, and now
No, I think it's more Matt Stafford. Like I know Jared Goff is
man, they wrote him
okay.
off, man. They wrote him off. The LA Rams
Uh,
went to Detroit to get a quarterback that was going to lead them to the Super Bowl, which he did. You know, But the Rams were like, you know what? Hey man, but here, take this dude. Go ahead, take this dude. I mean, he's not really gonna do much. And for everybody who was saying, I know he was a super high pick. Wasn't he the number one pick, Jared Goff?
I think so.
Yeah, for a number one pick, which goes into one of the conversations we're gonna have about another number one pick. The I almost said the potential, but the weight that came with being the number one pick, the expectations,
Hmm.
sometimes is unfair to these guys. Like they weren't the ones who scouted themselves. They didn't put
Oh
out.
my gosh, yep.
It's tough, but also, you have to give them credit for the way they handled it. Like Jared Goff really could have just folded. I mean, he could have been Johnny Manziel. He could have been Ryan Leaf, or Jamarcus Russell, one of those guys. But he came back.
Expectations
He's having a great career. People won't see it because he's a number one pick, and obviously
got
when
traded.
right and coming with the
And was
number one pick,
Stafford the number one pick too?
Stafford was a number one pick as well, one for one, I think.
So Jared Goff was the number one pick in 2016, and Matthew Stafford was the number one pick in 2009. So
Nice.
7 year difference in the start of the careers. But both of these guys first round picks. Now we're going to see Detroit at or the Rams at Detroit. Um, this one was a tough game to watch on Sunday Night Football. The Bills traveled to Miami to face Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. After turning over Josh Allen a bunch of times in the first half, things looked like they were going to be okay for the Dolphins. But man, the Bills end up winning this game, just like totally shutting down the Dolphins in the second half, 21-14. And now, instead of the Dolphins having the AFC East, the number two seed in the AFC, and a home game, they're going to go straight onto the road. They've been knocked into the wild card, into the fifth seed or into the sixth seed of the wild card, and they will be facing the Dolphins, having lost this game. Will be facing the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Bills, now the AFC East champions, will be hosting. What is this? What is this?
The no, because
The Pittsburgh
I was
Steelers.
about to say because the Ravens have a bye, so Pittsburgh
The
Steelers.
And then the third game for the AFC is going to be Houston hosting the Cleveland Browns. And then for the NFC for Super Wild Card Weekend, we have the Packers who secured their spot. If they lost, the Seahawks would have got in. But the Packers at the seventh seed, traveling to the Dallas Cowboys, who won the NFC East. The Eagles. Whoa, what am I looking at? The Rams traveling to the Detroit Lions, and the Eagles visiting the NFC South champ. Um, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who also went to secure that spot on Sunday. But let's talk about the Dolphins and the Bills. Oh man, this one hurt because after turning over the Bills so much early, you really wanted to see the Dolphins with like a two score lead, like a 10, 14, 17 point lead, but they could not get points on the board versus this Bills defense. Um, and Josh Allen, after a bunch of miscues to start the game, eventually finishes with 359 yards, including 67 rushing yards and two passing touchdowns. Josh Allen has dominated the Dolphins since he joined the AFC East. I think he had like 38 touchdowns to 7 interceptions all time versus the Dolphins. He just turns it on really when playing versus Miami, whether they're visiting or in South Beach. But Tua, 17 of 27, 173 yards, a touchdown, two interceptions. Not the greatest from Tua today. Obviously, wish he could have had some throws back, especially on that last drive. Finishes with an interception, trying to lead a comeback in the last minute. I don't know, man. I mean, it just feels like the Dolphins are kind of falling. They're super injured. A lot of people are hurt. Tyreek Hill was in a walking boot. Jalen Waddle, I don't think he even played today. A bunch of defender. Bradley Chubb injured, out for the rest of the
Well,
season. Not
yeah,
going to make the playoffs.
shows out for the season. Look, some of those guys that are out right now, like Waddle and Tyreek. Waddle, I know, hurt his shoulder last week. Tyreek's been dealing with that leg for about 2 to 3 weeks now. So sitting out
Yeah.
this game is good for them. and it's
No, I mean,
it's a
Tyreek
professional.
played.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, 13 targets, 7
Yeah.
catches, 82 yards and a
I
touchdown.
mean, it's a professional league also though. That's why you have guys on the roster. You expect them not to come out and be the star that you're missing, but to come in and fill a hole. So, you know, Miami, their guys have to step up. But getting the rest, like Waddle needs to rest definitely. Is Mostert still out? I know he was out most of the last game they played.
Mostert was out today.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Chan ran it up today though. He's
you
really
know,
good.
yeah. I mean, it's nice to have a backup like that, right? So,
Hmm.
you got guys like that. A lot of people are going to be like, well, Tua should have did this, Tua should have did that. Well, the defense should have stopped them from scoring as well. Tua, yes, of course, Tua, big responsibility throwing interceptions like that, keeping the ball on their side instead of turning it over, just keeping drives alive. You probably don't have to go out there and score a touchdown every time, but you at least have to give your defense some rest, and you can't just be turning the ball over. I know, again, none of us, we don't know Tua personally. If you do, talk to us, come on the show, let us know. But I think a lot of it is also for him expectations, and I think um, maybe some of it is coming back to him from like the past. Maybe he's got people in his ear. I don't know. It seems because he doesn't seem physically hurt. It seems like he's trying really, really too hard to make things happen instead of like in the beginning of the season where they were just naturally unfolding for him. Like, the routes were there and stuff like that. Also, defense could be keying in on stuff like that because they've been able to see film. And so there's a lot to it, but I think the loss, it sucks that they have to play the Chiefs, but it might be better for them with the way the Chiefs are this season
Yo,
than to
if
see
if
Pittsburgh.
if they didn't, if the Dolphins would have won this game, they would have played the Bills again
No,
next
see,
week.
so and then yeah, so I mean, it might be I don't know if it's a blessing in disguise, but it might be a better matchup for them at this moment. And
Yeah.
so they've got a week to figure it out. It's tough to heal up within a week, but mentally, you can get set. So
Uh, let's see. They're gonna go play the Chiefs. In earlier this season, they hosted the Chiefs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In week 9, and Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs were up 21-0 at halftime in Miami versus the Dolphins in week 9. And they were able to hold on 21-14 to win that game over the Dolphins. So hopefully it's a different result. I know they're going to scheme up some stuff. That the Dolphins' offense, I think a big part of it is that they make it so that it's easy for Tua to just throw to a wide open receiver. The way they
right,
scheme it up, the way they draw
yeah,
up those X's and O's, picks, drags, crosses, to really get across a bunch of different defender zones and to mix up that coverage, hoping for a busted play or somebody drops the wrong receiver, somebody's running wide open for easy touchdown. There's still Tua doesn't throw as hard. He's not. I mean, he's more accurate than he is a long ball guy, but even sometimes it's just not. It's not that next level, like holy shit, magic. How did he put the ball there? Kind of thing. When you see with, I guess Mahomes, or I'm trying to think of somebody who did that a long time ago. But Philip Rivers used to be able to like. I mean, he went after the smallest freaking windows, and he did not complete them a lot of times. But
I was gonna say,
every
yeah.
once in a while, bro, Philip Rivers would put the ball on a rope, and you'd be like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get it, Big Phil."
And then two
Uh,
plays later, he
and
throws
then
an
2 plays
interception.
later, God dang gummit.
All right. To,
Um,
to his
but
credit,
yeah,
if we're gonna talk Philip Rivers, a lot of his interceptions were like 50-yard interceptions where he was just trying to gut it down the field. You know,
50-yard
yeah,
interceptions.
like a la Jameis Winston. I think that was Jameis Winston's
Oh,
inspiration coming up.
oh my gosh, we
So
gotta talk. We gotta talk about
yeah.
Jameis Winston today. Did you see what Jameis Winston did at the end of the Saints Falcons game?
Yeah.
The Saints are gonna kneel it down at the 1 yard line, but instead he fakes the knee and
He,
hands it off to
he took
Jamal
responsibility.
Williams,
He
who
took
scored a
responsibility.
touchdown.
Look,
The only problem is the Saints were up like 30 points when this
who
happened.
look, if we're gonna talk about it, fine. We'll say, who cares? Yo,
Arthur Smith
who
cared.
cares?
That's who
You know
cared.
why he cares? Because he's a shitty coach.
He ran up on Dennis Alley in the
I saw that.
midfield.
Bro, I was been like, bro, it's not my fault. Your team's shitty. Play ball.
Dennis Allen was like, "Hey, they called an audible and did that. That's not
No,
what I
yeah, no,
wanted."
he
He
apologized.
was,
Dennis
I
Allen was
would
the
have
first
fought
one to
for the.
apologize.
I wouldn't have let Arthur Smith talk to me like that. I would have been like, I would have
It
immediately got defensive and
no,
been
but
like, "Hey,
that's
you
us,
don't
of
like it?
course.
You stop it."
Right. But Dennis
I was
Allen's a
gonna
classy
tell
guy,
you
man.
that my asshole backup quarterback was being a
Right.
jerk,
But
but
you
you
know
know
what?
what? Now, yeah, you damn right we scored on you to make it a 31-point game with
Also,
8 seconds left.
Jameis Winston also took responsibility for calling the audible.
Yeah,
But if you look at it, they were trying to do Jamal Williams a favor. Jamal Williams led the league last year in
yo,
touchdowns with 17. That was his first touchdown of the season this year.
I thought it was like that week 18 statistical bonus incentive. Like, oh, he just needs
No,
one more touchdown to get to five, and
I
that gets
mean,
him $100,000 or
that's
something. But it
crazy.
was his first
First of the
touchdown of
season.
the year.
He had 17. This is like the exact opposite of Mostert, who had I think it's 20, either 19 or 20 touchdowns for
In
his
his
whole
career.
career before he got to Miami. And then I think he has like 23 this year.
Yeah, he has more than he's had in his entire
Right,
career
his entire
before.
career. But
But
that's crazy. Like, and that also goes to
no,
show how much of a team player Jamal Williams is because he signed there. You know, I'm obviously he probably didn't expect not to get that kind of season, but he was still a team player the whole season. You did
uh,
not once hear anything about. I mean, he probably did to his homies, but you didn't once hear him in the media talking about, man, I'm over here. I scored 17 last year, and I haven't got,
yeah.
never once.
I
So
did. They just this was his first year with New Orleans, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
because with
last season he
Detroit,
was with Detroit in the
yeah,
David Montgomery role, and they fed David Montgomery like a mug this year, just to running back that system.
right.
Um,
Also, like a lot of Jamal Williams touchdowns came within like the red zone.
yeah, they're just the
Yeah,
punch in. He's
yeah,
like the Gus Edwards of
yeah.
the Lions, and now
He's
of the well, he was supposed to be of the Saints, but the Saints also didn't have Alvin Kamara for the first 3 weeks, and then they had a couple of like backup and rookie running backs that they were trying out. So Jamal Williams did never catch on
right.
with the Saints this season, but yeah, I I don't agree with that audible or anything. I know Jameis said, the team wanted it for him, so I guess, it's good for the team, whatever. It's not hurting anybody except for Arthur Smith's fucking pride. He's about to get fired, bro. That's
He
why he's
should
like,
get
what the
fired,
hell, man?
and it's
I
not on
told him
that
if I
play,
kept it under 30, it'll be
bro.
okay to come back.
It's your
Well,
fault,
it's
bro.
48, Arthur. Count.
Right, right. You're not a good coach, man. You know what? You'll
Good
be
offensive
fine.
coordinator, because he was
You-
the offensive coordinator with the Titans when they were running, or I guess that was just Derrick Henry play action.
Oh yeah, he's a great offense. Great. Hey, give it to that guy.
Yeah, the Titans were making the playoffs.
Shit,
But yeah, he
man.
can't. He's not. He's not doing it himself. He's not going to be
No,
there.
bro, he's another rich kid who got lucky, went to college, became a coordinator, and no, I don't know.
Which
I don't know his life, but
which super wild card weekend um, matchup are you most excited for? Is it Cowboys Packers, Lions Rams, Buccaneers Eagles, or in the AFC Bills Steelers, Chiefs Dolphins, Texans Browns?
man, that's tough because there's some teams on there who people that we are connected to are deep fans of, like the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Half of my family, for sentimental reasons, and it's just grown to a really big thing for half of my family. The Packers, they're big Packers fans. So honestly, uh, probably the Packers because that's going to be a good matchup. No Packers is another team that started off the season. If you're listening, message my older sister. Like she said, we still beat you. Um, they definitely weren't expected to make the playoffs.
The
You know,
Packers?
yeah. They come. You expected them to make the playoffs this year?
They almost made it last year. They lost in like the last game of the season
You
to
you
miss it.
expected you expected them to make the playoffs this year after the first couple of games?
Oh, what were they down the first couple of games?
Right, they were pretty bad the first few games. Like they won the first. I mean, Love came out, had a great 2 games, and then just went on a
Oh my
bad
God, they
streak
were
of
5-2 2, or they were 2-5,
Yeah. See, so I
three and
mean,
six to start the season. Holy crap!
it'll be, and then I mean that's going to be a good game. Cowboys. Well, so
Yeah,
that's a put up or shut up for the Cowboys because they've been smashing like lesser teams the whole season. They've just been going at them. Like pause. Yeah, they. I mean, that's gonna be a good matchup. I like that matchup, but I also like to see Detroit and Cleveland in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. This is Cleveland's only their second time in the playoffs since they've been a football team. You know, going back to the before they came back, because if you guys are young enough to not remember, the Baltimore Ravens were the Cleveland Browns, and then they decided to give Cleveland their franchise back, and Baltimore got to keep theirs. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting to see them in. I don't know how exciting the game's going to be because the quarterback play with oh no, Joe
Dak and
Flacco.
Jordan Love, or are you talking about
Yeah,
Texas
like
Rams?
yeah, that's gonna be cool. Flacco, the old dude against the rookie, you know,
Damn, for real.
that's
Yep.
right. Yeah, you know, two really good
First year
quarterbacks,
versus retired and came back.
and you know what? There's it's not that much of a bad comparison to kind of compare their styles. Of course, CJ Stroud's a ton more athletic than Flacco, but they both like to stay in the pocket and they both like to just heave that ball all the way down.
Heave.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good word.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a fun matchup.
All
For
right.
Flacco too, a guy off the couch. That's gonna be cool.
I think okay, so definitely I feel like the Dolphins have a better chance
Oh,
going
sorry,
into Kansas.
Lance. Don't let me interrupt you, but just breaking news: Arthur Smith has been fired.
Whoa! See, big man. Wow. See, I wonder who they're gonna get now. Oh my goodness. Yo, and Derrick Henry also like thanked the fans
Well,
after the
he
game. He like got on the
what
microphone on the
what
field and was talking to everybody like, "Thank you. I hope I was an inspiration to the kids here and
what
like
else
the
are you gonna
fans."
do? Like they've been trying to
That
trade
means
him
he's
all
gone, right?
season.
Oh, he's out. You're saying he's walking.
I, I mean, they've been trying. I mean, he's preparing for the worst. They were trying to trade him all season. They've taken like he's now. I think his carry share with Tajay Spears is almost like I know it started off like he was getting like the majority, and then at one point it was like
Yeah, split.
45, yeah, and then all of a sudden it was just split down the middle, and then Tajay had a really good game today, so but so did Derrick Henry. Both guys performed. I don't know if they want to bring him back. Maybe if he had like a lesser contract and he doesn't mind sharing the ball or maybe a lesser role, but I think he'd still be a really great piece in Tennessee to once they get a I don't know if they're gonna roll with Will Levis. You think they're gonna roll with Will Levis?
I think so.
Think so?
Yeah, I
So
think he proved enough that like he at least can should be a
right.
starter next year for them to really see
And
because he's still on that rookie contract. You got like 3-4 years.
and he wasn't a first round pick, so the expectations
Oh,
aren't as
okay.
great, you know.
Yo, also, if you're not a first round pick, that shaves off the 5th year option, so they have even fewer years to keep him under
Yeah.
like a cost controlled
Yeah.
contract. So
Contract.
they do need to play him now and really see could
What
Will Levis
his
develop
potential,
because
right?
he
He
won a couple
did
games for him. Like he
right. He did
started in
look
place of
good.
Tannehill. He
Yeah.
was firing. He had an arm. He was able to. Kind of process things
He was
well enough, but
he
he
was
did take
endorsed
some
by
crazy sacks,
no, he was endorsed by Nuke, so I mean that's a good sign when the Hall
bro.
of Famer endorses you as your coach.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Did you see him? Yo, put
Yeah,
me back
man.
in, man.
Hey,
Hey,
coach.
man.
I know they ain't got no timeouts, and there's
I,
only 80 seconds left, and we just need to kneel the ball 3 times. But I need one more catch.
is it a million?
I think he needed 3 more yards to get $1 million. They
I think he
said
got it. I
on
think
the
he got it.
broadcast.
Yeah.
That is crazy. But also, like, that's what made me think that the Jamal Williams thing was like an
So
incentive
I thought
kind of.
so too. Once I heard that, like they maybe it was, but also it reminds me of any given Sunday when Lawrence Taylor's when he got hurt in the game, the scene where he gets hurt. but he just needed that one tackle to get his incentive. Like that's crazy. Like these
Oh, it
guys,
went for it.
right?
I
That's
mean, that
crazy.
money. The Chiefs, Chris Jones needed one more sack today versus the Chargers to make a million. I
Whew.
think a million point 25.
Wow.
A million, five quarter millions, or like $1 million to sack the quarterback one more time. He got it. The whole team celebrated on the sideline.
The Patriots,
That's pretty good.
the Patriots had I think he was a lineman, and he had to play 45 snaps or not or something like that. 45% of every game this season or something like that. So he was at like point something of the percentage to get it, and I think he got hurt. So, but the Patriots decided to give him his $600,000 bonus anyway. So, hey, good on you, Patriots. You guys aren't all assholes. Good job.
Another matchup I'm looking, forward to is going to be. I feel like the Bills are going to beat the Steelers. The Steelers don't have T.J. Watt. He's out, right? Or he's injured.
He's injured. But I don't know, man. I mean,
I don't think he's going to play, right?
I wouldn't. I mean, no, I would actually. I'm a dumbass. But uh I not just TJ Watt, I don't think they have enough offensively. I going into a
Oh
game
yeah,
where your quarterback is uh Mason Rudolph. Yeah, no. Nah.
Mason Rudolph 3-0.
No.
3-0 got him into the playoffs. Shout out to the Jags for losing. Oh, speaking of which, the Jags after week, I think it was 12, had a 99% chance to make the playoffs. They missed the playoffs after losing this Sunday. They will not be going. The winner of the Saturday night game, the Houston Texans, who beat the Colts, will win the AFC South and be hosting the Cleveland Browns on Super Wildcard Weekend. I don't remember it being called Super Wildcard Weekend. I think it was just Wildcard Weekend. But now they're like, Super! Say Super! I'm like, okay,
You know
NFL.
why it's super? Because there's a lot of teams that weren't going to be in the wild card that are now in the wild card.
They're super happy about it.
Uh,
Before we do shout outs, of the 14 playoff teams, who are the ones with the best vibes? Because you talking about the Eagles made the playoffs, but they just lost to the Giants. They've been losing a lot. They look super banged up. AJ Brown was in the medical tent today after a big hit.
I think
And the vibes of a team that was in the
bro,
Super Bowl last year seemed
AJ
unstoppable is
AJ
now like
Brown
super low vibes.
AJ Brown is responsible for the drop of that team, not just because of that injury, but because of the turmoil he's causing in that locker room.
What
So
is he like starting stuff or?
yeah, I mean, I think he's also again starting to complain about his touches, and so the story is that he has the locker room divided. So, and if that wasn't the story
Oh
when he was in
wow.
Tennessee, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Oh okay, okay.
right, like maybe it is him. But
Damn.
going into the playoffs, the Texans have a really good vibe, man. Uh,
Fun young.
they're fun, young. They got CJ Stroud back just at the perfect time. Him hitting that touchdown at the beginning of the game today, like they seem like I don't know if they're ready for the playoffs, but their energy seems like they're ready for the playoffs. I like their energy going into the playoffs. Of course, San Francisco lost today, but their energy is that they didn't need to win today. They were relaxed. They got their players some rest.
Hmm.
So they have a really good vibe going into the playoffs as well. I would say Dallas too. There's a lot of chatter about Dallas. Like people always talking about Dallas. So I mean that could mess with your head or it could make you better. You know, want to just prove everybody wrong. But yeah, for sure the two teams I like going into the playoffs right now, their vibes are the Texans and the Niners right now.
Uh,
Excuse me.
I think the Niners and the Ravens have like really good vibes. Obviously, they're on bye. They're the number one seeds this week. Maybe the Niners a little bit more than the Ravens. Um,
Ravens for sure because the Ravens. I just think that they're never too high, they're never too low. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
all season long, like of course they lost to Pittsburgh, but again, they had the same vibes as San Francisco. It's like we clinched. I mean, all right, we win this game. I'm super competitive. I would have not lost that game. either if I was the Niners. But I like their vibe. Yeah, they're confident too, but their vibe hasn't been crazy like all season long. Like they weren't real high about themselves when they were winning, and they weren't real low when things were like they had a couple when they lost against Pittsburgh. They just bounced right back. The first loss, not the second. They just bounced right back and were killing teams. So
They lost both games against Pittsburgh.
yeah, they got swept this season. So
Hope they don't see him in the playoffs.
nah,
No,
this second one was. I mean, how they actually look pretty good. I mean, you never know. He could have pulled out the win, but he's definitely not
yeah,
Lamar Jackson.
both
So
17-10 losses to the Steelers this
wow.
year. The rate I give the out of 10, I'd give the Niners like a 9, the Ravens a 8. Maybe the Cowboys and Lions. Maybe the Lions got like a 7, Cowboys 6. Rams are pretty good. I feel like Rams are like a 7.
Rams are cool, but they like the consistency for the Rams and the
Yeah.
Lions. They've run real hot and cold this season. Like it looked like they were just gonna take off at one time in the season. The Lions, and then they were dropping like a couple of games. We were like, well, how did you lose those
Mm,
games?
oof, yeah, they had some
Yeah,
rough and
questionable
bald
losses.
ones. Yeah.
True, true. But
Um,
again, any coach is gonna tell you that it's tough not to, but you never let the ref uh, decide the outcome of the game. So you got to do the things in the
it's more.
game that
There's so much more game than just
right,
that one play.
right.
Um, I give the Eagles like a 3 out of 10 for vibes, and Buccaneers at a 5.
They
I feel like they won their division. This is the third time they won it in a
they
row.
the Eagles are that car that the radiators busted out. They got one flat tire. You know what I mean? The
Uh,
paint's coming off, and they're just making it over the finish line. So the
we'll
buy would have
see
been
how much
nice.
more gas that car
Right,
has. Hopefully,
exactly. It's tough because they would have been really helped by a buy. Obviously, they don't get one of those. You got to be better than that. So, yeah,
the wild card teams in the AFC, I feel like their vibes are high. The Browns are like, "Yo, have this happen? Let's ride our
yeah,
defense and this crazy armed quarterback." The Texans with CJ Stroud in his rookie year, things are happening. Lots of excitement, lots of change for a franchise that's been a loser for a long time. The Steelers with no offense this season, being outscored by like 15 out of 17 games, outgained yardage wise. Sorry, outgained yardage wise, but still winning more than half their games to make it into the playoffs. Those teams are like, we're playing with house money. Let's go out there and mess up somebody's day and
exactly,
like
exactly.
try to just string 4 wins together. All you need is 4 more wins
The
uh,
Browns,
to
the
go
Brown,
down in
they're
history.
yeah, the Browns going into the playoffs have dealt with a lot of injuries, and as we know in the league, you take certain injuries, it could change the whole trajectory of your season. They lost. I'll be nice. They lost the. We're gonna call him the misogynist.
The misogynist. The
I know.
misogynist. Oh
I
my god.
I know that's not well. Actually, you know what? It kind of works both ways for him. I mean,
Oh
the massaging and
wow.
so they lost him.
I never heard that this whole time. That's so good.
They lost him. But more importantly, they lost Chubb at the beginning of the
Misogynist.
season. Chubb was really the heart and soul of that offense. Because it was
Oh,
like
tell me about it. Yeah.
if we're not, and then it's funny because they went back and they got Hunt, who obviously needed Chubb to have a great season again because he didn't have that great of a season. But they lost those guys. They lost a couple guys on defense. Went out and got a quarterback who's been sitting on the couch for the past 2 seasons, 3 seasons, maybe. I don't know. He's come in, he's injected some really good life into them. But they were a team that were expected to be at the top of the AFC starting the season. So I think they're on a high because uh one, the expectations started to falter during the season, but two, they're exactly where people thought they were going to be. So now they're like, you know what? We're actually that good of a team. So a lot of the confidence is and the Texans. Maybe I should have not eaten that edible. But the Texans are cool because whether they win or not, they got there. I know I'm not saying that they don't care about winning, but No one expected them to be there for sure. Like people
Yeah.
were like, "Well, these fools are
There's,
going to be. They're
yo,
about to get right. They're
they can use this as like a springboard for like experience points
for
and like
sure,
getting that
for
postseason
sure,
stuff at a really
for
young
sure.
age, which
Right,
can really help with the trajectory of their franchise,
and
their
they're super
roster.
young because they're
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
course the quarterback, their number one guy is a rookie. Their number one receiver, rookie. Their number two receiver, probably Brown, rookie. Uh, man, they're
Will
super
Anderson
young.
Jr.,
Defense,
rookie.
rookie. And again, people were like, well, you know what? They're gonna be even better 2 years from now because they get to go to the the front of the draft again. Nope, that's not what they had in mind for themselves.
All right.
So whether they win or not in the playoffs, they're in a really good spot going forward if we're looking beyond that. And that's why I like their vibe too. Because they, like you said, they can go and play spoiler, maybe win the first round. If they get to the second round, obviously it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. It's
Better
logic is that they're gonna
teams.
play a better team. But yeah,
Their
moving
quarterback
forward
is
for them.
confident.
No, for
CJ
sure.
Stroud is like,
For
there ain't
sure.
no shame in my game. I know I make mistakes, but what I really got, I'm not gonna be
Right.
scared to go out there and sling it just because I threw some interceptions.
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
what
keep pushing the ball. That's my
so
job.
his mentality was cool. That's what they brought him there for, to throw the
Mm.
ball. You know,
Yeah, for real.
what are they gonna do? Bench him? Okay, that's your fault. Then you know what I mean? You bench me, you picked the wrong guy. But his mentality was, you brought me here to throw the ball all day long. Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And he came in also with a lot of people talking shit about him during his college season. They were saying he only had one good college season. He was coming in, and no other quarterback from Ohio State, you know what I mean, was coming out of that system. It has been great in the NFL. A lot of doubts on him. Said he So he proved a lot of them wrong. Great to see that. Great to see that. But yeah, their team, a young team. I like them going forward into the playoffs and beyond the playoffs. So that's great to see.
In their future, yeah. Gerard Johnson, former football quarterback, current quarterbacks coach of the Houston Texans.
Nice.
Him, the offensive coordinator, and the new head coach, rookie head coach, D'Amico
Rookie head
Ryan.
coach, D'Amico Ryans.
Bro,
And but people expected him to really take that team and do something with them, just with the job that he did with San Francisco. Man, he's
oh
well, he's nice.
yeah,
He's
like
nice.
like people are like fired up to play for him
Right.
too.
And he's a great
Uh,
player too. Really good player.
yeah, for the Texans.
Yeah.
Bobby Slowick is the offensive coordinator of the Texans. He's a name that I've heard talked a lot about, like the next
Next
coach
coaching.
hiring process. So that's going to be a name. I think Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the
The
Lions,
Lions.
credited with their
Uh
offensive turnaround and for Goff's production this year.
there's some talk
A
about
lot of
Jeff Ulbrich as well from the Jets. So
the defensive coordinator,
defensive coordinator,
not
Jeff
the
Ulbrich.
offensive coordinator for the
No,
Jets.
hell no. Hell no.
Nathaniel Hackett. Let's let's do shout outs. Yeah, so we got a bunch of Super Wild Card weekend coming up next week. We're gonna see Tua facing Patrick Mahomes. Cowboys got the 2 seed. Eagles have to be on the road versus the Bucks. It's going to be very exciting. The single elimination National Football League playoffs. The time is upon us. It also kind of starts my like seasonal depression because I know the league is coming to an end and I gotta watch like baseball, basketball until freaking
Hey,
the draft, and
I
then more
understand, man.
basketball and baseball
I'd be
until
depressed
camp.
too if I was a Lakers fan, man.
Whoa! $5 million crypto.com arena private valet suite comes out to $10,000 a person
That's
per freaking
ridiculous.
home game. That video was crazy. Um, any shout outs this week as we finish the NFL season,
Yeah,
regular season?
man. Shout out to my little best friend, man. Levelasi Louis. She turned 8 this past January 5th. I'm trying to remember what day that was. Saturday or Friday, I'm sorry. Uh so man, such a bright little girl. She's super sweet, super smart, super funny. Um Whatever I can do to make your future brighter, bring things come true to you, I'm gonna do it for you, Lassie. So Love out to my niece. That's my man. That's my homie. We eat candy together. We watch TV together at the house. We do stupid stuff together, which I'm getting in trouble for now because she does it when I'm not there.
Where'd
So, yeah.
you learn
Uh,
that from?
well, they don't ask her no more. They already know, which I don't know. I should be proud of or hurt by, but uh,
She
that's
takes after her best friend.
right. I am that uncle. If you guys are wondering, I am that uncle to all my nieces and nephews. Shout out to them. Shout out to all the youth sports from American Samoa. I know the Samoa Bowl team, is it Samoa or the JPS Bowl teams have left the island, split up from all the high school kids in American Samoa that are playing. They're in a tournament. I want to say it's Vegas, but yeah, they're here out in the States to compete with other teams from the different states here from American Samoa. I know there was a volleyball squad too, that women's volleyball, girls volleyball. So shout out to those guys and everybody else putting all of this stuff together for the youth in American Samoa. They just finished with a big softball tournament with was for women's or girls softball and men's softball. They were trying to qualify for the Olympics. Softball is going to be an Olympic sport out here. So great things coming from American Samoa. Shout out to all those people, man. And man, shout out my guys, man. Eddie and Noah. It's tough being an Eagles fan. You guys were at the top at the beginning of the season. I get it. And those are they're really good Eagles fans. So shout out to those two, man. Keep your head up. Don't worry going into the playoffs. Just yeah, don't worry.
Nice.
Don't worry.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. You guys are facing the Buccaneers, all right? It's Baker Mayfield. It's in Tampa. It's nice and warm.
Man, you
Go
just
get
don't
your run on.
you
Make sure
just jinxed
everyone's
it, man.
healthy. Go and do it. Don't let Baker wake up feeling dangerous. Come
You,
on,
you just jinxed him. Baker about to throw 600 yards right now.
bro. Good for Baker. Yeah, shout out to the NFL regular season. It is over. We are now hitting the playoffs, and yeah, I can't believe it's already it's already over. Um, Shout out to the Fantasy Football League. Shout out to the Ballinesian League. Shout out to Mason Samoa for taking first place.
Damn you,
Will,
Mason.
our former champion, for taking second, and AJ for rounding out third. Man, Mason had he finished with 300 more points than the second place team, than the second highest scoring team.
Mason, what analyst did you get to
I'm
get?
saying, bro, what app are you using? Let me see. He killed it, bro. Also shout out to Mac Moley for winning our first ever holiday cheer podcast league. It's going to be $100 to Mac and $100 to Pie Fest, which is like a STEM organization that deals with kids science learning down there
Man, Mac,
in the Bay.
you better than me, Mac. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. You would have been like, and that's 175 to 4. Hey, shout out to Mac, man. Shout out to Mason.
So yeah,
Man,
shout out to those guys, champions, doing big things.
shout out to man. If you guys are right now, be like, I'm never playing fantasy again because you lost. Stop lying. I'll see you guys next year.
Give yourself a couple months. Yeah. Shout out to the Ballinesian League. We're going to be making some rule changes, adjustments, whatever we need to do to add a last place punishment or.
Well, thank God I'll never have to worry about that.
I hope so too, bro. I was like sending them in a different group. I was like, let's do this, or the last place can do this, or the last place can do that, bro. I was like 11th. I was worried, bro. I was like, wait a minute. Nick Chubb got hurt a long time ago. My season ended a long time ago. Bijan Robinson plays for Arthur Smith, not anymore. Oh no. He's fired, so the next quarterback is actually going to use Bijan Robinson. So I shouldn't have traded him away. I knew he was going to
Why
get
did
fired.
you trade him away?
Because Arthur Smith made me so mad. He's making him field punts and shit. No shout outs to Arthur Smith. I hope you don't. I hope you become an offensive coordinator for a Pop Warner team and they make you pass the ball.
Funny.
Thank you everybody to listening to our first episode 2024. We're going to be here every week recapping what's going on with the playoffs, giving you, our in-depth analysis. Hopefully, we can get some playoff team fans or co-analysts in here and talk about the games that are happening here in the playoffs over the
Hey,
next month.
hey, man, you can tell us right now, man. Who's your two keepers for next season?
My two keepers in the Ballinesian league.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have to look. I want to make it more. I want to make it a two quarterback league, but I feel like.
Ooh,
Oh, also, we haven't made it two keepers yet. It's still one keeper, so we have to tell the
yeah.
people it's going to be two keepers.
It's gonna be two keepers.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Tap in. Find us on Instagram at Ballinesian, also TikTok, Threads, Facebook accounts, or you can watch these episodes on YouTube. And subscribe, follow, rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts or whatever podcasts you're listening to. If you find that little rating button, give us a little boost.
Yes.
Yeah. Forrest, thank you very much for coming and breaking this down with me today. And we will see you guys next time. Also, check out Levasa Island Apparel, www.levasaislandapparel.com. And that's all we got. Roll the credits, play the music. We are out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay ballin'. Love and light. Peace. Let's go smoke.
I thought you were gonna say we're out like Arthur Smith.